Today we have a very distinguished panel from across the world. We have with us Mrs. Rashmi Kapoor, MD Materials, Dr. Kuldeep Singh, Dean, AIMS Jodhpur, surgeon and digital and wellness and arts entrepreneur, Debashish Bhattacharya, Dr. Sandeep Sharma, who will be joining soon from Changdong University, Taipei, Taiwan. So we start with Dr. Kuldeep. Sir, how important is health, wellness, work-life balance, and education? And as now, wellness has been very prominently used in the national education policy, the latest, which came last week. Yes, sir.
They are all interrelated. So basically, health depends on the behavior, and the behavior depends on the education. Education depends on the literacy. So the earliest thing we can do is the literacy, the spread literacy. At least they can read and write, and they can sign. That is a literacy. But the education is a process which starts from like early childhood and goes even in the late adulthood, even in the elderly. And that is a process in which we learn to make some decision, judgment, logical thinking, actions, activities, so which are required for the society, for the positive things in the society. And as part of the education, health is a very important component of that. So ultimately, the aim is a positive health, and for that, education is very important. And as the health has been defined as a state of a complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being, and not merely the absence of the disease or infirmity. So it is a very wide and broad definition of health. So it includes even what we are now considering is the spiritual health. We give less importance to the spiritual and the mental health, which has become more important nowadays, and it is going to become more likely to become more important in the coming future. So that is a neglected part which we often see that about the mental health. So health education should start or should be a part of the education, normal education process. And this education should start right from the beginning. That is when the child starts going to the school. Even before that, it can start at as early as at the in the home also. So home education becomes very important because when the child attains the age of 1 year, we start recognizing the parents, siblings, relatives, and other things. So at that time, we can have the foundation for the health. That is having the healthy habits. And at that time, the children usually follows whatever the elders are doing. So if the elders follow the norms of the healthy way of living, then the child start following that also. So even in the preschool years, even in the school, at the home education, the parents should inculcate the habit of healthy habits. And then in the school, it should be like according to the age of the child. Some of the things which is not understood by the younger child should be told in a different way. So we have to adopt some innovative methods and ideas to inculcate or educate the small kids about some of the very small simple habits like hand washing, keeping a physical distance, how to keep ourselves clean. Although these are being taught, but they are more of like a lecture thing, but that should be inculcated in the practical point of view. That is a problem-based learning should be started right from the beginning. So if the problem-based learning is there right from the beginning, it forms a habit for questioning. It forms a habit of learning with the logical thinking. It also gives an edge of the child for thinking at a application point of view. So it is not only the basic understanding which is important, but the application of that. So that requires an in-depth understanding, in-depth applications, and the way how to formulate the hypothesis and check it there, test it. So all these things are integrate higher level cognitive abilities, which needs to be developed right from the beginning. And a child who is adolescent, uh, what we say is that 10 to 14 years is the second uh, period of opportunity for anybody, while it is parents or it is teachers. Because at this stage, 10 to 14 years, there's a drastic changes are occurring in the child. And sometimes they are so much engrossed in those changes. And because of that, there are many things which the parents don't understand. So at this time, if the proper handling of the child can be done, and they can take it into the right pathway, this will make the another foundation for the later life. So the adolescent age is very important, between 10 to 14 years of age. And as I said, that there is a window of opportunity. So first window of opportunity is the 1000 days of life. That is 270 days inside the uterus and 730 days in the first 2 years. So these are very important in which the like foundation for the health is developed, as well as the ideas about the health are developed. And the second opportunity is 10 to 14 years, when they start applying those principles in their normal usual life. So understanding the sexual and reproductive health is also very important. And I think these are formed between 10 to 19 years of age. Out of this, 10 to 14 years of age is very important, because here the brain is growing, dendritic connections are developing, and their memory base is enlarging to a great extent. And to add to that, there is a hormonal changes which also like change the behavior of the person. So I think a better understanding for everybody, the parents, the teachers, the laymen, the relatives should be there. They should understand that the adolescent age is very important from the education point of view. And school health education program, as has been said in the initial health education policy, should be a part and parcel of the normal education. And government has already started in 2015 a program known as Ayushman Bharat.
Right.
The one of the component of the Ayushman Bharat was to have the insurance scheme. So till now, the insurance scheme is only dominating the overall overview of the society. But the second component, which is the health and wellness centers, that is a government proposal to have the 150,000 health and wellness centers spread across the country. And what they are doing, they are converting the PSCs and CSCs into health and wellness centers. So with the existing manpower, they are not only promoting the health, preventing the disease, but also having a liaison with the higher institution or the medical colleges. So at the same time, one of the component of the health and wellness centers is that they should collaborate with the nearby schools also, so that the healthy habits can be developed right from the beginning. So I think the government vision is very broad, and I think initial health education policy also goes along with that. If we follow and if we carry out this policy in a like some technologically innovative way, I think this is going to change the health of the society. Some of the things have already started happening because of the COVID. Other things we can develop in the next 1 or 2 years.
Thank you, Dr. Kuldeep. Now I request Surgeon Devashish Bhattacharya. Sir, as you have been staying in UK for such a long time, and out there I think people are more health conscious than us, what do you suggest on the subject?
So there are quite a few things, and especially the COVID-19 crisis has actually highlighted the strengths and weaknesses of our society. As much as we have seen, we lay exposed as...
Like, we are thankful to Dr. Sandeep Sharma. He's a postdoctoral research fellow at Chang'an University, Taipei, Taiwan. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome,
Thank you,
Sandeep. How are you?
All well, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Right, pleasure. I think we have two ends of a globe, so pleasure to connect.
Same here, sir. Same here.
As I was saying, and I think we have a lot of lessons to learn from Taipei, how they have been well and resilient in this COVID crisis. But unfortunately, in the United Kingdom or in India or any other country in the world, we lay completely exposed. And this has actually highlighted the weaknesses that we have in society, and also some of the strengths. And what we have now realized is that the economy going forward is going to be a very health-based economy. And in the health-based economy, we have to prepare for further pandemics, and probably a lot of lessons to learn from Taipei. But for the moment, some of the things that it has thrown up is that health is not just, or wellness is not just about exercising, or it is about better food, or it is about, work-life balance. These are a consequence. Some of the things that have thrown up is, especially at work, what we see on a day-to-day basis is a feeling of loneliness, and isolation, which is actually a pain response as much as a physical pain. The lack of social connection, which is actually brought about by this crisis, which is already pre-existent, and which is coming to the table, and something like what we have, healthy food stations. And I think going forward, we need good social connection stations too. Another very big thing, a big source of stress that we have is our workplace or even the study place. And the biggest source is our immediate supervisor. You can have the best, gyms in the world, the best food in the world, but unless that lingering problem, which is the work, is gone, then you cannot assure a wellness, a well or a healthy society. So I think it is for us leaders to look within and see if we are the source of all the problems. Now, this is a beautiful saying by Bob Chapman, Chairman and CEO of Barry-Wehmiller. If we simply cared about the people whose lives we are privileged to lead, and very important, we are privileged to lead, and send them home each night feeling valued, we could have much lower health costs. When 88% of people do not feel they're part of an organization that cares about them, we are actually manufacturing the healthcare crisis. And the go-by product is pills and medications and hospital visits. So it's very important to value people who come at work. It is very important to flatten organization. And it is very important that just not the leader speaks, but even the followers have a say in building organization. And this is the first port of call that we need to change. We need to respect each other. We need to value each other's contribution. And even when we differ from people, we need to actually do it in such a way that we do not actually injure a person mentally. So this is the first point of call. And I'll very much highlight today on organizational health, because in days of digital health and kind of a lot of new things which are coming in the market, we actually forget that the visible behavior of people in organizations, it is just what they want to project themselves. But the more important, it is like an iceberg, is a depth where their values and beliefs and their underlying needs, including their threats, their fears and threats to their identity, are not assessed. And we go about looking at just the tip of the icebergs of people, and eventually these all add up. So a very important bit of wellness is to understand people. Not everybody is suited for going to the gym or exercise, and some people actually hate that. And it is on the basis of the understanding of people, which should be imbibed right at the education. Education in our society is mainly to achieve, is to get a lot of marks, get into big schools and business schools and engineering colleges. But instead of that, I think the training, not just in skills training of normal, kind of maths, physics skills, but also human skills, which should be imbibed in people, which later on we will reap the benefits. And organizations who actually look after their organizational behavior and who have a focused health improvement plan, where relationships are better, where motivation is more, even it reflects on the economy. So a very big thing is what I'm trying to say, basically, a very big thing is a societal change in the attitudes that we have towards education and learning. And this is something we should start straight away. Then we should probably start reaping the benefits later on. We'll be a more resilient population. There will be further COVIDs in different forms and different ways society will be attacked. But it is the togetherness and a strong society that will tide this crisis. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Surgeon Debashish. I would request Dr. Sandeep Sharma. Sir, how important is health, wellness for students and even people who are working in colleges and universities, as just now Surgeon Devashish said, a lot of people, the stress is killing them. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Right. First of all,
Tracking your voices.
what are, yeah, I guess there is some network issue happening.
Fine, sir.
Now, I would like to congratulate you for your Wellness TV.
Oh, thank you.
So I think we are the first one on the TV, bigger Wellness TV now.
Yes, yes. Devashish and Dr. Kuldeep are the inspiration.
Oh wow, that's wonderful. So what I would say, आप सभी डॉक्टर्स में से बड़े हैं और बहुत अच्छे ज्ञानी लोग हैं, तो मेरे पास उनके लिए कहने के लिए कोई शब्द नहीं है. But yes, motivation, self-motivation is the best thing which we can do it. In this pandemic time, we talk about discipline and everything. I think nothing is going to work. It is just that motivation that really works a lot. I don't know who works what and how they work, but really self-motivation is the main key who will keep motivating you to, keep your energy on a very high level. And I would like to thank Dr. Kuldeep, Dr. Sandeep ji, and Devashish from your side. So rest, Pranav, now you are the one who have to say something about it.
I would like to ask Dr. Kuldeep, Devashish, Sandeep ji, and even Rashmi ji. Because of this pandemic, from last 4-5 months, a lot of people have lost their jobs, business is bad, a lot of socio-economic changes are coming. That is also putting people in a lot of stress. I think with when I am talking to a very big industrialist who pay salaries up to 100 crores in a year, they say we are paying the salaries, but we don't have money anymore from September onwards to pay to our people. And no production is done. So either the workers or employees or the employer, everyone is in a very stressful
Very
situation.
bad state, yeah. Yes, yes.
So Dr. Kuldeep, what is your advice?
Yeah, actually, this mental health is going to become one of the most important thing in the future. And basically, from the medical point of view, mental mental status is determined by two things. One is the genes, and the second is the environment. So till now, the environment was very conducive and was very good. So the stress was not coming forward or coming in front of the people. But now with the stress, a disaster which is happening, and probably next few disaster will happen again. So the people who are predisposed, basically, they are having a more of the stress, and they are going into depression and suicidal tendencies or some other problems. So I think most important thing is that we have to understand that the stress is a part and parcel of life, but seeking an advice of an expert is very, very important. And here comes the role of the psychiatrist and psychologist. It is not the degree which is important, but it is the number of years of experience of that psychiatrist or psychologist is important. Because to understand a patient problem, one should have a very huge experience to understand what is basically happening to the person. And he should be able to differentiate whether it is because of the stress or some underlying problem, or there is some disease pattern which is there. So there may be underlying disease also which is predisposed to psychological stress and also causes depression. So I think a well-trained and well-experienced psychiatrist is most important person who can, with the help of psychologists, can decrease the stress. And I think taking the help of any psychiatrist is not a nowadays it is comfortable to take a advice from a psychiatrist, which is very important. And advice at a right time and a follow-up is very important. Sometimes the medications are very, very important, but they need to be changed very frequently also, because the drug cannot continue for a long time to avoid the dependency. At the same time, drug needs to be escalated or downgraded according to the response of the person. And sometimes the additional drugs has to be used. So a specialized psychiatrist will able to take care of these people. And mental health stress is going to come, and it is going to increase in the coming future. And the second important thing is the prevention. Suppose if we can make the environment more conducive and better so that the stress does not precipitate depression. So we have to keep on talking with the people and engaged in some of the activities. Otherwise, the like empty mind or when you are not doing anything is a predisposition for the further problems and the stress. So we have to somehow engage everybody in some of the activities. It can be a job-like activity or it can be physical activity in some other form or engagement in the hobby also. That is also very important. And the third thing is that for the motivation to be maintained and to be like developed in the society, we need to develop some of the cultural specific motivational videos or motivational some activities. The motivational videos which are prepared by the gurus are not sufficient because they are generalized. So we have to make, and according to the job of the person, suppose a medical person or medical student, we can have motivational studios according to that population. A engineering student needs a different type of motivational videos. Similarly, a 12th class students need a different type of motivational impact. So we cannot generalize and apply universally all the things. That is uh, one thing cannot fit for all everybody's requirement. So we have to individualize and customize the motivational programs according to the need of the person. Too much of everything is bad. So that's why we have to have some small amounts of these things, not too much.
Great, great. Debashish.
Yes, and I'll probably want to come in here. It's very nice. Thank you very much, all of you all. What I want to say is what I have been doing, not what can be done, because this is an extraordinary situation. The first concern is not the people who have lost their jobs, it's the people also who are in the jobs. Because everybody's paranoid that any day I'm going to lose my job, which is leading them to overwork and further stress themselves and cause further mental injury. This is something for all the leaders. The first thing that I do is reassure the person that your job is not dependent on you working till 11 o'clock at night. Your job is dependent on how long you will be able to work and what quality you are doing. And reassure them that, I'm there for you. That is the first thing. Second thing is a very low threshold for any kind of mental health referral, whether it is a mental health first aiders. In the UK, we have lots of mental health first aiders. All companies have created, so societies have created some resilient people who to talk to. Very important for people to talk to, whether it is to a professional or within the community. So within the community, I organize a lot of programs. Now we are planning to go every week, where we get people to speak, Zoom calls or whatever it is, with a professional psychiatrist, always to give advice. So that is another thing. People who have lost their jobs, the most important thing is to get them together and see what skill sets they have and what transferable skill sets they have. Some of us have come out and we have gone into kind of a social entrepreneurship with little things that I was speaking. Little things like building cafes, little things like making face masks or whatever it is to engage people. That is very, very important. Even if it is pro bono, even if it is social work, because a person who goes out to work, if he doesn't do this for a while, then becomes unemployable. So whatever work, whatever group, whether it is pro bono, whether it is paying, whether you're earning £5 or £10 or whatever, is to get people engaged in the first place. And the other thing also is for people to come together as a community, give up your own differences and help each other looking for work. So I think this is a big time. As Pranav, you've been saying, people are paranoid, not only who have lost their jobs, but who also the people who are in their jobs. And this is the time where, especially organizations like you, who are bringing together people to serve as a platform where people can talk to each other, hear about jobs, what are the skills, what are the trainings that we can go through. Because a person who was trained to do something, probably that job will, let us say the biggest thing, let us airline pilot. If you're an airline pilot, it will be a while before you'll be able to fly a plane because there are no flights. So you will, whatever skills you have to reskill yourself and make yourself useful to society. And this is where the community comes into play. And this is all my little contribution that I've had to COVID. There have been successes, there have been failures. And it is the time when, like I was speaking this morning with a different person, we have to learn as we go along. And this is probably the perfect forum to learn. Thanks.
Yeah, Rashmi, you were adding something.
Pranav, I would like to say one thing, that there are a lot of WhatsApp messages being circulated, and that's the first thing which gives you a lot of stress. And I believe people who are going through a bad phase, first is that you don't take more stress that what is happening, क्या हो गया, आज कितने लोग मर गए, कितने लोग और हो गया COVID. I think that's not the key. Key is how many people are getting, back to their work, how many industries are opening, what all we are doing. That's more important instead of seeing what negative factor of us. Even anybody, for that matter, April was very bad for everyone. Everybody was depressed, stressed. Even I would say, even I was one of them. But yes, we have to come out of it. We have to come out. Only then you can live. Otherwise, it will be like deteriorating yourself and not coming out of it. So we have to see the world how we are going fast. People, those जिनकी industries बंद नहीं हो रही है, they have to find a way out. There could be a way that they can struggle and they can come out of this. That's what I would like to say.
I think you raised a very, very good point, ma'am. As we are into recruitment also, recently we got requirement. They wanted WhatsApp executives. They want people who can the whole day do WhatsApp for them. So Amazon is looking for people who can work from home. They're paying very good salaries.
You have YouTubers, you have TikTokers, you have all sorts of social media jobs creeping up. What I would like to add here is that if we can have a digital vacation, I mean, we have a digital life and we have a physical life. What is happening is that our virtual life is taking over our physical lives, and which is actually creating a lot of stress.
Very true.
So the new mantra is we used to work for something called work-life balance. Now what is more important is virtual life and physical life balance. So the more you are into the virtual life, the more stressed and the more disoriented you are. You actually you become led away by the virtual world into altogether different world. What you can
very true.
You can exactly do. So while you were there in the physical world, your near ones, your friends, your foes, or whatever, they kept you in check, and you knew what exactly can be done and what are the other things that can be taken up. So I think virtual vacation is the need of the hour, and the more the better off the society and individuals will be, and the stress will be reduced. Yeah, thank you.
Very good, very good, very good. I think it was a wonderful session, and we'll keep on taking your advice and help. And as Dr. Kuldeep and Surgeon Debashish, they are working on telemedicine and curing people online. And today's, I think, Wellness TV started because of Rashmi also, because we planned for a wellness program on Sunday afternoon, and we couldn't find that wellness lady. We tried to contact her, but she was unavailable. She didn't reply to us. So let us start a wellness TV only with the help of.
I would like to add something in that.
Please.
One experience I would like to share. Actually, at AIIMS Jodhpur, we got a Grand Challenge Canada project on adolescent health education. So in that, I had used a technology that is a mobile app along with a chatbot. So again, the problem was that we are at the one end, we are trying to suppress the technology, On the other hand, I am promoting the education through the mobile app with a chat bot. So we conducted first session about how to use the technology, how to make the technology your slave rather than become a slave of the technology. So I
Correct.
taught all the children about how to use the technology and we conducted a session with the parents also in our auditorium. And then we distributed the mobile app to the children, and the chatbot was able to answer some of their queries related to the sexual and reproductive health. So I think technology is going to come, it is going to improve, and whatever way you adopt, it is not going to come down. We have to live with the technology, but we have to start educating our younger generation about the like how safe and how effective to use the technology. And we have to develop those habits of using the technology for their betterment rather than become the slave of the technology.
Very
Very
true,
true.
very true, very true. I think
Very true.
Surgeon Debashish will agree to it. I think
Excellent point.
in India, 90% of the people, we don't know how to do online reputation management. Offline, we have done so well because we don't know what people are thinking about us after seeing our post, our things. Majority of I think we need an online reputation management course also in schools. I think they have implemented in this new education policy. So I think that is very important point Dr. Kuldeep has said. We should not become slaves of the technology. Fine. So Debashish, can you conclude it?
Yes, I think overall, I think we've had a lot of very interesting points which has come in, and Dr. Kuldeep, of course, has gone into details of what the policies are and how exactly to go to integrate education and healthcare. Rashmi, of course, has made her very useful contribution. And one of the very important things which Sandeep mentioned is discipline. And this is something which is very, very important for all of us, you know, especially when we go through education, we go through jobs, especially in India. We are rebels without a cause. If somebody comes, if anybody comes and makes a decision, we have to oppose it. And this is in stark contrast of what I've seen in the Western world or even in the Far East. People criticize Boris Johnson or whoever about wearing a mask, about everything under the earth. You know, we have to criticize, we have to oppose, but people will stand in queue wearing a mask and they will talk to the television wearing a mask. And at the end, they'll say, yes, this is my opinion, but since this is the law, this is the rule, we should follow it. And I think this is one of the things, discipline and good followership. We have a lot of leaders in India, but it is followership. You know, somebody has thought that this is the best way to deal with the coronavirus. You may believe something else. It may not be right, but let us give it a chance. And that is one of the biggest things in life. Don't take that tension of Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, or Rahul Gandhi, the opposition, in your own self. See what they're doing. Give the government a chance. If it doesn't work, nobody is more responsible to the people than the government or the institution. And I mean, Dr. Singh is a dean. If he does not something right, he's constantly monitoring himself. So let us help the authorities and let us be disciplined. That will be a very big thing in the wellness. And thank you very much, Sandeep, for bringing this point. And thank you, Pranav, for having organized this.
No, thank you, Dr. Kuldeep.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Anand.
Surgeon Debashish. Thanks, Dr. Sandeep Sharma. Thank you, Rashmi ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.